Oh, it's a little bit cold. Not just in Canada, but also here on Polar Night. This is game number 3 in the APS or the APS-C2 Christmas Invitational. Sorry if I got that wrong, man. It's just a mouthful, and I have to say. But no disrespect, this is a great tournament being put on. Some really good players competing for what is actually a surprisingly low prize pool. Not that that's a bad thing. They did attach some CM Storm gear to help make up that difference, I guess. Spawning here in the lower corner of the map, though. Or not lower, central part? Whatever. Anyways, it's the blue Protoss known as Nara. And his opponent in the northern spawn. A Terran player who finally managed to achieve victory today, tying the series up 1-1. It is the orange Terran Aqueron. So yeah, the first we'll call it warm-ups. We'll call it warm-ups for the first little bit of today. We'll see how this goes. If Aqueron can bring himself back from defeat, if Nara can also bring him back from defeat. Again, both of these players did lose their first rounds, which kind of sucks. One of them will be knocked out here today, and one of them will advance for another chance with a quote-unquote fingers crossed shots at getting out of the group stage on top of everyone else. Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you, oh man, that name I can never say. Roger in chat. Nara's Korean, but he moved to Spain very young. That's pretty cool. So we got two younger StarCraft 2 players here, and I gotta say, one thing that's made this series, in my opinion, a lot better than say Aqueron versus Vortex is the fact that it's a lot more evenly matched. We're seeing really cool tactics come out of both players, mistakes being made out of both players, and that's kind of what makes this a lot more fun to watch. At least for someone like me, where it's like, yeah, you can play like a top-notch Grandmaster Korean to a T, but if you do and you make no mistakes, you know exactly what's going to happen, and there's no diversity in the game. Whereas, you know, forgetting detection or going for storm drops, these are cool little tactics that I love that they've chosen to embrace. Now, Polar Night's a bit of a fickle map. I don't think we're going to see Aqueron change the metagame up, but one of my favorite things of all time that I've seen in recent days was Tasia going tank and Banshee on this map. And I don't mean like tank bio with some Banshees and Hellions sprinkled in with the opener. I mean just straight up tank and Banshees. And, oh, Probe does die. SV still alive in the opponent's base, but the reason this works so well is the terrain on this map is so easily abused. You take a look at the natural base of Nara, for example. Right outside the edge of it, you put out siege tanks there on the low ground. You have Banshees provide the high ground vision while supplying extra DPS. I mean, again, not that I think Aqueron's going to go for something like that, but it's cool knowing that the options are there to have this game be a little bit different than the standard. Because TVP, man, it's in bio. You just can't go mech. You can't make it work like period, it feels sometimes. But, alright, Mothership Core comes out. I was gonna say, I don't know why he'd hound the SCV down. He's gonna worry about the Reaper. It looked like he was gonna go chase after it for a little bit there, but Reaper comes towards the main, jumps out immediately. Combat Jugs will have to kick in, then go back for a scout on the base. Kills, if you kill a probe or two, that's always nice. But the way I think it's kind of looked at is like probe kills are icing on the cake at best. The scouting information is really what you want out of that Reaper. A big thing too last game was knowing Blink was coming. Kept Aqueron from moving out of his base with that big Deathball army, which again has really got him killed 3 times today. So that's if that's not proof that scouting information is everything, I don't know what is. But of course, going bio once again. Looking like he's not actually going to open with that Widowmine drop. I don't know, I really like that coming out of him. It was a really good way to open that last series, in my opinion, but we'll see how it goes. Of course, with the Mothership Core and the Warp Tech timing coming out, he's gone for that Twilight Council and the Templar Archives once again. So, one way or another, whether it's Archons or Storms, Nara certainly does like this tech path, and I can't blame him. He's been getting pretty good use out of it. Suddenly something clicks in where he goes like, oh right, last game I lost in a section. Maybe I should get a robo facility up. Maybe I should make sure I don't lose 13 workers to 2 Widowmines. Reaper is chased out of the base. Stalker doing a great job following through at least the open part of his natural. Yeah, Marauder, Stim, and Expansion, even a Starport coming down. What's really nice for Aqueron is there's a push you can do right now without the medevacs that basically is meant to force the overcharge off. If you guys will notice too, another big problem with this game specifically is there's always been 2 photon overcharges available for when Aqueron goes for pushes. And not that stopped him last time, but The point of pushing out early is you bait out one of the overcharges and fall back. Then you follow up with another big push, and suddenly your opponent's only got 1 overcharge instead of 2, which makes your push a little more successful and their defense a little bit worse. But Aqueron is just staying at home with this force. Looks like he's going to wait till the medevacs are out. Might start trying to drop around. Nice thing about Polar Knight for Terran players is there's a lot of open space in the main, so it's not about getting in undetected, but just unloading not where there's a bunch of cannons and not where there's like 7 zealots waiting for you. Yeah, here come the medevacs. We'll see if he pushes out with this. He may just end up being defensive too, because he doesn't know whether it's going to be a blink on or anything yet. He got like no scanning information with that Reaper, sadly. The awkward thing too is, let's just talk about maneuverability and such for medevacs. War Prisms with Storm Drops, again, wouldn't be too bad. You can skirt around the edges of this map quite nicely. There's like more airspace on this map than there is like size available on like Alter Zim, for example. But yeah, Storm's finished up. Did he already warp in the Templar? I'm just looking for him. Yeah, they're already getting energy. So if he times this out correctly, he'll probably have about 2.5, 3-ish, maybe even 4 storms, depending on how long it takes the Warp Prism to get over there. But 2 big drops heading towards his main, and there's nothing here to defend. No Stalkers anticipating the drops. No Templar waiting to feed back the medevacs. Not that that would do too much, I guess. There's only going to be an overcharge available. Nara's going to take some losses, though, for sure, before the overcharge cleans this up. Overcharge should clean this up, by the way. Meanwhile, natural base is going to be ignored. There are some workers there, but really not that many. Nara might constellation it. Yep, decides to just storm this base instead. Goes for the immediate Archon Warp, kind of a cool tactic there. Bio's going to get on top of this and should be able to clean it up. But Zealots will be warped into the main in just a second. Meanwhile, that drop in the main, that drop in the main of Nara has actually not been cleaned up. Insane amounts of damage have gone down. It stalled the charge. It stalled the +1 armor. 3 gateways are depowered. How many workers went down there? 8 versus 5. Those 3 gateways are the difference of these extra zealots coming in. It's only 2 warped in instead of 5. 5 should have killed so many SCVs to this point, but great pilot snipe, I guess, by Aqueron on Nara's half of the map. I just naturally assumed the overcharge would have been enough, but I guess whether it was delayed or what have you, definitely some rough damage did go down. And I'm pretty sure that was not a case of the Artosis pylon. I wasn't looking, but even if it was, looks like we're going to have drop, continue one more time. Picks off the Templar Arca, or the Twilight Council. That could be quite devastating, actually. Ooh, Twilight Council did not get repowered by that pylon, by the way, guys. So that charge is going to be even further delayed. Does clean this up at the cost of another overcharge, and that is actually going to really hurt, because now the natural base has no photon overcharge available. Big stim force coming in. There's 1 cannon to defend. Aqueron, with that 1 tiny minor drop, may have just sealed a huge advantage in this game. He's going to dance around the Nexus. If he kills this and boosts on out of there, oh, this is going to be so good. Nara loses that base, and Aqueron will get out mostly unscathed. 1 or 2 Marines did die, but oh man, that is rough. Again, the charge is so heavily delayed. Finally, maybe he's realized. I don't know. It's still depowered, Nara. Without charge, your Zealot's going to be so ineffective, even with that +1 armor. Oh no, this could really ruin his game. I don't think he realizes this either. He may have just assumed he got repowered with the pylon. Now puts more pylons down. Warp Prism in the north has 2 Templar and some Zealots warped into it, so Storm Drops again going to be available. I think going towards the main might be a lot better. There's not a lot at the natural at this point, unless he wants to storm against some of the actual army supply, but mules, of course, have much more health than SCVs. Still die in a storm, if not handled correctly, but there we go. Charge finally starting up once again. Man, this was so heavily delayed, and it's super unfortunate that that's the case, but alright, Storm Drops once again here at the Natural. Good kills on those SCVs, better kills on top of the mules, even gets the Zealots out alive, so continuing to harass. Aqueron's basically saying, like, or Nara's basically saying to Aqueron, you're not safe. You might have 3 bunkers up, but I can still touch your economy. And that sounded a lot dirtier than I meant it to. 2 medevacs, though, here in the lower right corner of the map. Going to go for a big drop once again. Not sure what they could really pick off tech-wise. Most of it's already been picked clean / finished researching. Still no upgrades, really, for Aqueron, but for the first time in a series, we may have him actually get upgrades. Downside about this choke is if those Templar from the National brought up, a good storm will clean up almost this entire army. Folks firing down on the Templar Archives. Would have rather see him take out the Forge. Upgrades are a bigger threat to deal with. There we go. Forge is going to be focused down here too now. He needs to get out of there. Drops his... okay. Templar were just arriving a little bit too late, and that's super unfortunate. It loses his +2 armor upgrades. That would have been a huge advantage with how heavily delayed his charge was, but now he's stuck behind once again. Nara not in a commanding position in this game, but not at all out of it by any means. He can't push, he can't bust. He's got these drops for harass. It looks like he's going to the main one more time. If he gets 2 storms off here, this is going to be huge, actually. Warp Prism now coming in. Oh god, this is gonna hurt. Although the Zealot's attacking, gave warning. Oh, that was a mistake. Nara, less than 1 of dropping, man. Never get that warning out a little too early. Archon's gonna finish up here. More Zealots were warped in. There's even a Stalker here awkwardly, but the Archon's gonna pop real quick. That was really unfortunate. Meanwhile, big bust towards the main. There's no SCVs repairing, even if there were storms available. Nara may have just turned this game around with that really impressively fantastic failure of a warp in, or sorry, the harassment in the main. I can't believe this is going to work. Big drops go off in Nara's base too, though. Marauders are going to try and focus on the Nexus, but if it comes down to a straight-up base race, a base trade, if you will, I think Nara's got it. His army's just looking a little too good, a little too strong. Armory's about to burn down in the main of Aqueron. Meanwhile, looks like he's pushing into the natural of Nara a little bit here. No overcharge, no cannons, no defense. Yeah, he's actually bringing the entire army back to deal with this, halting the base trade scenario, but I think he should have just gone with it, to be honest. Build a couple pylons on the other side of the map. I mean, maybe he's afraid of the Terran floating buildings, I don't know, but Pro's being pulled into this as well as some Zealots. Nexus does fall, and Nara has got enough money to make another one, but is there a point? I really don't like that he came home with this either. Like, I really truly think his best bet would have just been to press for the full-on trade, but now that he's come back home, he can't do that. He has to defend. Nexus being rebuilt here at the Naturals. There are 4 Templar with full energy for storms, too. So Aqueron can't really fight head-on, and he knows this. So he just picks up and he gets out with all these medevacs, all these drops alive, coming to the Natural one more time. Feedback goes down. Storm goes on top of the bio, but actually, just somehow barely misses those probes there. Yeah, Aqueron may have lost his natural, but actually, not in that much of a better position. He's not mining for much from his main. The SCVs here are mostly idle. He's got to reclaim this natural. Takes the 3rd base instead, knowing that he can't really waste a whole lot of time with this. Does need to get these idle SCVs working, though. That's a lot of SCVs doing nothing. When your income is the most important thing to you because you know your opponent has 0, small mistakes like this could really cost you that lead. But, all right, focusing on these gateways. They might be depowered, but if he gets rid of them, it means they can't be used again, of course. And picks up and gets out once again. Even if feedbacks go down, these medevacs have no energy, so there's no real immediate danger. If Blink was here, maybe, but transitioning into Ghost a little bit. Something that's been a little bit delayed in this game with how early the Templar tech was revealed, but what's really nice here out of Aqueron, it sounds so silly, look at the Marauder count he currently has. What Nara has, it's not really going to deal with this too well. There's no Colossus, there's an Immortal. Templar Storms don't really threaten Marauders the same way they do Marines. They've got 125 health, and Storms only do 80 damage, barely. Drop's going to go down in the main once again, if at all possible. There's an an Immortal and 4 Zealots. No anti-air. So maneuvering around, finding a place for the drop, not at all out of the question. This is a really weird game to look at, because right now, I don't know that Aqueron's got necessarily enough to hold with. Especially if Warp Prisms start here in the main. The Warp Prism is deployed, waiting. But okay, we're going to find out, guys. Here come the Marauders. Again, they're not going to really give 2 Fs about most of these storms, but there's not a lot of medevacs here, so even stimming is going to make this a little more rough. Does have an EMP available. Snipes once, but not twice, so the Templar does not die, and the Ghost goes down. I don't think he's noticed that there's the Warp Prism in the main either. Not that it's being utilized yet. Templar on the front lines once again. Storm goes down, no EMPs because unfortunately the energy research has not been finished. It looks like if the Immortal goes down, the Marauder should be able to push. There's just an Archon here. A couple storms will clean up a lot of this. Oh god. Aqueron has no medevacs to heal this massive Marauder count. The drop that was across the map comes home to defend, but this is a desperate plea out of Nara trying to get back in this game. He kills the lot, but is it enough to bring him back? Charge lot still pushing forward. No Warp Prisms were utilized in the main while this was going on. Really, Nara should have been, well, that big distraction tactic was going at the natural. There should have been like 5 Zealots wrecking havoc in the main. You know, whether it's picking off supply depots, killing SCVs, maybe even focusing on the Ghost Academy. But because of this, Nara's actually, oh, pardon my phrasing here, guys, Nara's up shit creek. His income's still in the gutter. He's never fully recovered. Up to 30 workers. He didn't lose a lot of workers, of course, in those pushes, but lost that Nexus. 3 ghosts at a time, more medevacs coming out. This push from Aqueron's looking quite scary. There is one photon overcharge available. Sorry, one single photon overcharge available to hold off a force this size. I don't know if that's going to necessarily be capable of doing so. Could elevate her towards the main. There's a lot of Templar really overstepping their boundaries right now, though. Yeah, forget the Nexus. If he picks off that robo facility, that could be the nail in the coffin. That's what he's going to do. Focus this down. No Immortals means no response to these Marauders. 2 Immortals standing and 3 Templar. Sorry, 5 Templar. Really not that big of a concern. No blink available still, so this medevac once again just gets out of there. Ghosts do have the best death audio, by the way. Like, they're like so dramatic when they die. I love it. I wish I could make like a soundboard for Starcraft 2 and just like when I'm casting anything, something dies, just play the ghost sound. Anyways, looks like getting towards the main once again. There's just no way for Nara to push out of his base. He constantly has to keep coming back. This allows Aqueron to just really start snowballing ahead. Before these guys are fighting a somewhat even army supply, gets the Nexus once again and gets out of the main. This is really rough for Nara. We'll finally have Zealots warped in offensively inside the main of Aqueron. Although these guys will get cleaned up. It's only 4, and this is like not while there's anything going on. Aqueron can afford to focus the full attention of his army to deal with this. Middle of the map around the Watchtower, fight may be engaged here. He's got enough for EMP, so he can kill this Archon. He can certainly kill this Archon and some Zealots, but decides to pull back for the time being. Oh, third base bunker actually never had anything put into it. Drops go in the main once again. That Nexus is canceled this time. Not killed, but Nara playing off of 1 base effectively for the rest of this game. Should never really be able to establish another. Aqueron's multitasking has been quite good so far. Zealots in the main, still killing SCVs here and there, picking off supply depots. Just depowering gateways, ensuring that there'll be no further warp-ins, which is actually going to be huge because Nara's got about an 800 mineral bank, but he can't utilize any of it right now. This push will try and focus down the EMPs on those Templar. Do get quite a good EMP off. Still storms available. He's got to be careful. No EMP going down on them. Why is he not EMPing the Archon that's in his face? A little too focused on the Templar, I think. Now he's got a full army, and there's only 1 storm to oppose him. Sorry, 2 storms to oppose him. Meanwhile, back on the other side of the map, Aqueron has pretty much cleaned up the main. There's no more production to be had. 2 gateways coming down at the natural, but realistically, at this point, Nara's got to know he's out. But he doesn't want to give up. This is his tournament life on the line, so it's understandable that he's still in this game. Beautiful storm comes down, but again, I don't really know that it even matters at this point. Even trying to catch the medevacs with a storm. Talk about desperate. 1 Stalker has been diligently trying to kill this 3rd that was lifted up and floated away. Zealots in the main finally cleaned up. There's a lot of ghosts available, though. I don't really know what to say about this game at this point. It's Aqueron's game to lose. Unless Nara messes up in a big way, like, he has no upgraded advantage. He doesn't have any tech going his way. He certainly does not have the production. He definitely does not have the income. Aqueron basically gonna transfer his SVs over to the 3rd. Yeah, there we go. Big transfer coming off now. Mules will be dropped. His income's about to skyrocket. And while this game's been pretty back and forth and some pretty nice trades for the last good 26 minutes, it's about to come to an end, I feel. So many Templar available, or no Templar available, mostly Archons. A good couple of EMPs will just destroy this. Ooh, unfortunate on that SU transfer. The Archon's gonna do what they can. Yeah, again, less desperate last plea. Everything falls, even without the Ghost using EMPs. Pylon's been established towards the front lines. There's 5 gateways in total. They're being chrono boosted to get units out, but look at the army supply, guys. It's 88 to 12. There's 52 workers to 23. It's 3 bases versus 1. Well, 2 base economy versus 1. This is it. It's just pretty much over. This is Platinum League, WTF, no Praetorian 17. This is Masters versus Masters in this Spanish awesome tournament. Yeah, Yeah, Nara, guys, please understand. He's not trying to BBM. He's not trying to be like rude or anything. He's just, it's his last game. If he loses this, he's out of the tournament, and not a reality anyone wants to be faced with. So we'll hold on and scrap to the last breath. Nice EMP. No storms available. No way to hold off this army. Good game with a sad face. Well played is called, and Aqueron will take his way back to a chance to get out of this group.